Kia ora, good morning. Oh my God, I've just, like a bolt of lightning out of the blue, I've just been inspired with an awesome TV show. I was just talking to Puppy, and he's just inspired me with an awesome TV show. I don't know why I didn't think of it before, to be honest, but divine timing and everything. I don't know exactly what I'm going to call it. I might call it the Soul Collector. you know the show might be called the Soul Collector. I don't know, but it's going to be like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Charmed and Practical Magic and that. But I literally only thought about this like 2 minutes ago, so let's work through it. So what I'm thinking is it could be based on Ruby before she joins the police force to work for the Ministry of Souls, but she's in training, right? Because we're all trained from childhood how to be what we are. When you're a mutant, when your bloodlines are destined to work for God or Lucifer, depending on what side of the scale you're on. We're trained from birth pretty much how to be who we are. And so I'm thinking I could do this where I don't know how young I want to make her. If I make her Ruby, Detective Ruby Corazon, I don't know how young I want to make her, but she would either be in high school, university, college if you're American, or like in her early 20s, where she's sort of just starting out. But the only reason why I'm hesitant to make her, oh, I mean, not necessarily. I was going to say the only reason I'm hesitant to make her a teenager is that she'd have to, like, be home with parents and that, but that doesn't necessarily have to be true because remember, Ruby's parents are Persephone and Hades. But she goes to them by going down into her basement of her home. To go and visit her parents, she goes to the basement of her home, which like opens up a portal to the underworld, and she steps through it, and she has to go past Uncle Odin and all that to get to Hades, and then Satan's her grandpa. So I can bring all of that in, but it wouldn't be a comedy or anything. It'd be just like how Charmed was and Buffy the Vampire Slayer was. So if I made her a teenager, I'd have to have it that nobody else in the above worlds knew who she was, obviously, and what she was training for, but she lived a completely normal life until she joins the Ministry of Souls, right? Until she joins the Ministry Police Force. Because the thing is, I mean, this series could go on for a long time, because if we have her starting training as a teenager and then going on to, her graduating and joining the Ministry of Souls Police Force and becoming a detective for the Ministry of Souls, that could be a second series in itself. But for now, let's just focus on the TV show. So if I made her a teenager, she'd be in high school, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Or I could make it Charmed, where, like I said, she's got like her own place while she's training at the academy. But some of the storylines would be based on real cases I've had to get involved in, where I've had to fight the demons inside people I've had to encounter in my life. People who were put in my path to try and be the coyote, so to speak, or, were sent by Lucifer to try and stop me from completing my missions and stuff. And we'd get to the kids who wanted to work in stage makeup and that, like, oh my God, and like, CGI. Because it might be one of the things. I mean, when they made Charmed And Buffy the Vampire Slayer, did they use much CGI? I mean, I know they would have used some when they were dealing with the demon stuff and the portals and the underworld and above worlds and all that sort of thing, but I'll have to look into it. I don't mind using a little bit. It wouldn't be saturated in it because... But oh my God, the stories. I'd just be able to hand the script writers like real things that I've worked on and real experiences that I've had and then just let them turn it into a story. But the cool thing is that every now and then when she has to go and see her parents or her grandpa, like, we'll be able to bring Persephone and Hades into it. We'll be able to bring Satan into it. If I make her Ruby. But I think it'll be cool making it Ruby because, like, when she's having a crisis of conscience, you know, when she's learning to, like when she's given her pheromone, for example, which is her familiar, she has a pheromone. It's like a half fairy, half demon. It's kind of like a flying lizard demon angel. I created it a long time ago, and it's a pheromone, and it kind of sits on his shoulder and that, and he works as like the scale of her conscience, and she's given him to stop her from taking the soul of something that isn't completely evil. It stops her from taking the wrong souls down to hell or releasing the wrong souls to heaven. The pheromone, the fairy demon, and she knows by how it sings. It either sings like an angel or screeches like a demon, right? That's how it communicates with her. You know, when she's dealing with things and she needs to go to her parents, because remember, Persephone is a goddess whose mother is Demeter, who's like the forest goddess. And so she's not all darkness. She's light as well. She's Mother Earth as well. She's got that Mother Earth component in her. So she has a heart. That's why she's called Ruby Heart. You know, she's got a heart. And she works to balance the karmic scales between heaven and hell. But when she's in training, like, for example, we'll write it in so that she has a boyfriend. She falls in love with a boy who, it turns out, he was there to try and stop her from completing a mission or something, and she has to take him out. And then going to her parents and saying to her parents, and then like her mother saying, look, I fell in love with Hades. You know, when I met him, he kidnapped me. He saw me, he fell in love with me, and he kidnapped me, and he took me to the underworld, and you know, he had to barter with my mother. Okay, like, you can have her, but you've got to let her come up for the equinoxes, because she plays an important role in how, you know, the seasons change and all of that. So it's like, okay, deal. But then Persephone ends up falling in love with Hades, and then they have the children, and, you know, all that sort of thing. So, but she can say, you know, you have to trust your heart. There's a reason why you're called Ruby Heart. You know, your heart doesn't lie. Your heart is the most honest part of your body. And you have to do what's right for you. You can either go down the path you're on with this love and let him destroy you, or, you know, like that sort of thing. I mean, I'm literally just making this up as I talk. But yeah, so we could have it, because remember, like my exes, that's what they did. She could have like a boyfriend. I mean, assuming this series goes for a couple of years, she's going to have lots of boyfriends and that. And I had 3 husbands, so, and, you know, potentials and that were all, most of them, barring the first one, was sent to try and destroy me. So, I mean, I could write all of that in. What's that other one? that absolutely pissed me off more than anything in the world because of how fake it, like it drove me out the wall, how scientifically incorrect it was. Oh, was that Jennifer Love Hewitt from, is it I Know What You Did Last Summer? Is that what she was in? The Ghost Whisperer. The Ghost Whisperer? Yeah, like that. But it would all be real. And the great thing is, if we got like a following of teenagers and all that watching it, she can be the one to teach them how you don't use pentagrams. You don't use anything with a circle. Like when she has to do things where she has to use salt to use circles and that, like she could do a whole, when she's talking to her counterparts in the show, are you going to do a pentagram? No, we don't use pentagram. You know, get a spell book out. We don't use spell books. Alchemists don't write anything down, like that sort of thing. Because then any kids that are watching it that think that they want to get involved in the occult will know that if they engage in anything with pentagrams and spell books and that's black magic. That's when you're treading on black magic and devil worship territories. So it'd be fascinating then, because the thing is, then we've got like the first sign, our Harry Potter, then that's another way to educate them as well. How exciting. And it's literally just because I was talking to Puppy and he said something and it was just like ding, 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 ding. So that's why I love him so much. That's why I'm so protective of him, because he inspires me unlike anyone's ever inspired me. Tchaikovsky and Swan Lake and the Nutcracker and all of that, like that was the start of all of the I can't stop thinking now, because I'm thinking like we could film this in the Amber Wilkinson School of Alchemy. We could make that her house. We could film it all on location in the house, and then would have the Fairyland Productions movie studio, recording production studio, which will be like a couple of hangars, like airplane hangar type thing, so that we can change the sets all the time to make it look like apartments for when we want to do Behind Closed Doors, which is going to be our version of Friends, which is a comedy like based on all the single employees at the Art of Creation, Ministry of Souls network. They have like an apartment building for all the single employees that work at the network. And it'll be, what goes on behind closed doors when they're not in front of the screen sort of thing. So we can film all that there, and then we could film this there as well. And, I mean, should I call it the Soul Collector? Because, like, the Soul Collector, the younger years, Soul Collector, the Soul Collector, the younger years, maybe. Maybe I'll put a pin in the name. So I'm thinking the actress would have to be no older than, if I'm going to make it high school, because the reason why I was thinking about making it high school is because how I explain about how the teenage brain is still developing and doesn't stop developing and going through the chemical changes until they're about 22, 23. And because my whole sole purpose is to help kids fight their demons, especially when they're dabbling with the paranormal and the occult and that. So she could be going to school, like she's sent to go into the school to be a student so that she can keep an eye on some of these kids who are going through things where their demons come out, and she's seeing their demons, and she either has to show them how to fight their demons or fight the demons. And the demons could be the teachers, the janitors, the parents of the kids, you know, when they have like, yeah, so, okay. I mean, I could make it the college years as well, but I think I like the idea of making it her high school years, where maybe she's like about 19, but she has to pretend like she's 15. It's her assignment before she joins the academy. How exciting. Because I'm thinking Sabrina the Teenage Witch as well, but without the comedy. Because it's not going to be a comedy. The Craft. Remember the movie The Craft? I loved that movie. Practical Magic. So it'll be a TV show version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Practical Magic, The Craft, The Ghost Whisperer. I said Practical Magic. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And Charmed. Kids can learn about warlocks and sorcerers and alchemists and all of it through the storylines. We could even have it as well where every now and then we could bring in Draco TC and the Wolfman. Like when the cops have to get involved, because remember she is part of the Ministry of Souls. She's born into it. And just like with Anahita in The Rise of the Dragon Queen, that starts with her training as a young girl as well. Learning how to be her highest totem, which is Gold Dragon. And she just wants to hurry up and get the training over and done with so that she can fall in love. But that's the animated series. So, oh my God, so should I... The Soul Collector High School Days. We'll call it High School Days, DAZE, High School Days. The Soul Collector, I don't know. Let me I'll put a pin in that for the name, but yep, so there you go. Oh my God, how exciting. I never watched any of those shows. I mean, I kind of would watch-ish. I've never seen a full episode of Buffy. I think I've seen a couple of episodes of Charmed. I loved Practical Magic and The Craft. I liked Sabrina the Teenage Witch, though, because I liked Salem. But it's just because they annoyed me how they taught the occult wrong. But I appreciated them for what they were, as stories, as, you know, as TV shows. I just don't like it when people represent my world wrong, especially if they're making money from it and getting fame and that from it. I don't like it when they represent my world wrong. But in my world, in the show, she could work with animal totems, you know, where, like with the Wolfman, you know, the Draco TC's partner, because they're cops together. That's our version of Miami Vice. When he morphs from man to wolf. So, oh my God, how exciting. So there you go. So thanks, Puppy. He inspired me. Honestly, he's my muse. So I'm going to go now. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite. Aloha.